Bass singer Eric Winston. I'm reading from the book The Life and Times of J.D. Sumner. Forward. Strange as it may sound, I knew J.D. Sumner several years before I actually met him. I knew him from the distance of my favorite seat in the balcony of the old Asheville City Auditorium. The night that J.D. and the Sunshine Boys literally tore up the Statesman, of which you will read in the ensuing pages, I was there. Thus, when J.D. went with the Blackwood brothers as a replacement for the late Bill Lyles, I applauded the move as one that would make that version of the Blackwood brothers one of the greatest quartets the world has ever known. J.D.'s rise to prominence was not overnight. It is not a sudden thing. He found no ready-made stardom, no one waiting with open arms to welcome him to the stage. What he attained, he earned by the sweat of his brow and the depth of his voice. There's no harder worker, no more dedicated man in any other trade or profession than J.D. Sumner. This is his story. It is the narrative of a man possessed with a rare talent who grasped himself by the bootstraps and pulled himself and his family upward into a better, more rewarding life, and in doing so, managed to help lift an entire industry, that of professional gospel singing, to national prominence, a state of bliss that unfortunately the industry has since managed to shoot down in flames. Of the 30 books I've written, this was the first, and certainly the most pleasurable. In 48 years as a journalist, I've interviewed thousands of people, but never have I interviewed one who was as easy a subject as J.D. Sumner. The man had an uncanny knack for knowing exactly what I wanted of him, and he said it quickly into a tape recorder. In his own fashion, he let the chips fall where they may. That's the only way J.D. can be. The original book, entitled J.D. Sumner, Gospel Music is My Life, was written in 1970 and 71, published by the John T. Benson Publishing Company of Nashville, Tennessee, in October of 1971. The first press run produced 3,000 copies, many of which were sold at the National Quartet Convention that year, where the book originally went on sale. Unfortunately, when that printing was sold out, the book was never reprinted. J.D. and the Bensons had come at odds over the Stamps Quartet's recording contract, which J.D. pulled away from Benson's heartwarming label and placed with another company, and the book was never reprinted. It lay in limbo for years, with hundreds of gospel music lovers demanding copies of it. After many years, J.D. managed to obtain the copyright, and he and I began to bring it up to date, filling in the gap between the time the book was published and today, a matter of 22 years or more, during which J.D. continued his amazing accomplishments in the entertainment industry. It is said a book is not written, that it is rewritten, and we can vouch for the truth of that statement. We have rewritten the book a dozen times over the years, tearing it apart and putting it back together again, so the book is a culmination of 24 years of work. We wrote until we reached a point where we were both satisfied with the book's content. Then it was put to press. We hope that you enjoy reading it as much as we enjoyed writing it. Final word. You may notice that this book, we merely skimmed the surface of the Stamps Quartet's 6 years of singing backup for Elvis Presley. The reason for that is that we summed up those years in a companion volume entitled Elvis, His Love for Gospel Music, and J.D. Sumner. We saw no need to repeat the content of that book in this one. This foreword was by Bob Terrell, who helped author this book with J.D. Sumner. I won't read the information about the Elvis book because it is no longer in print, and it's hard to find a copy of that